That was also interesting to me because I watched your Comedy Central Presents, the half hour in 2013, and then I went back and rewatched your Don't Tell. And you have one joke in there about like, I look like all the
Oh, yeah.
presidents. And so the first one, Obama was in office.
Yeah.
You're like, except for the one in office. And then the Don't Tell, you had like, it had evolved. It had like gotten a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You're like, well, except for one. And then... so that was kind of interesting to me because that's something I'm always anxious about. Is I'm like I kind of always have the same intro joke about to get into the fact that I have gay moms, and I'm like, well, how long can I keep doing this joke? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I have that. I think I've kind of stopped telling that joke just because it's like on so much tape now. But I did notice like a big switch when I started doing it every time I got on stage, because I would watch Mateo Lane. I would watch him go up. I think he's going to be here this weekend or something.
Next week, yeah.
But I would watch him, and then every time I got on stage, he'd go, "I'm gay, obviously. Look, move on." And it got this big pop, and it was just like a great, like, okay, like, we're here. You know, like, it's like a kind of like clean the table. We're here. You know who I am. You know what I'm about. And so I wanted something like that. And I do think that that's a good way to do like an intro when you don't have like a huge fan base and they don't know what they're walking into. Obviously, when you're big and like, you know, 2,000 people are buying tickets to see you, that's a different story. You don't need to do that. You can kind of, sometimes they want it. Sometimes they're like, say the thing, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that's what that was. But I didn't even realize it back in, I mean, I was stoned for that Comedy Central Presents. I was like, I'm not going to smoke today. I'm not going to smoke today. This is a big deal. And then I was like, I should get like little edibles. Like I should get like, this is before edibles were kind of like professional. And,
well, 2013, it was still just medical, I think, right?
Yeah. And California had a lot of like, you'd go to a dispensary and it would be like goldfish, gummy bears, but with no dosage.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know how they got there. And the goldfish, you know, like I was like, I'll eat one goldfish just to take the edge off because I'm pretty nervous.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like take Xanax. And then I took it and I didn't feel anything. So like an hour later, I was like, oh, I'll like have another 2 because these aren't working. And then I was like, okay, showtime. And I'm like nervous still, but I'm ready. And like I remember right as they said my name, they were like, "Everybody, welcome to the stage, Andy." It was like I was just like,
oh, no.
I was just like, fuck. And luckily it went pretty well. I mean, there was points of that show where, you know, like I think when we were talking about bombing earlier, and when you know it's going bad, there's something when you're stoned where you can make that feeling, you can kind of create that feeling out of nowhere. Where you're like,
well, your mouth is already dry, which is what it does when you're bombing. Like,
yeah. It's kind of the same kind of like physical effects of bombing. But yeah, and you're already in your head. You know, that's another thing. So I just remember being like that whole time, being like, "Keep it together, man. Keep it together, man. Keep it together, man." Yeah, but you know, I think that's also like something that just kind of happens. When you're bombing, it's almost the similar thing. You're just in your head, and there's kind of like like an unspoken but like understood feeling of like something's not kind of landing here. You know, this kind of isn't quite right. You know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like for me, one thing I've noticed is like when the inner monologue is on, then it's like, oh, this is not going well. Like it's like if I'm thinking too much somehow, then I can tell I'm like, well, I'm not like connecting right now. Yeah,
I would say that's like kind of that's like the hallmark of a good show for me. Hallmark of a good show for me is like, oh, I didn't like I was like not thinking at all when I was on stage. I was just present.
Yeah.
And I was just having fun, you know. That's kind of like, and then like sometimes I'll look back and I'll be like, oh, that wasn't a very good set. But I'll be like, because I'll like watch the tape, but I'll be like, I was having a blast. I don't know what's wrong with these people. Yeah.
Well, so I also wanted to ask about the Comedy Central Presents thing because it's like another thing I'm interested in is like, so I've been doing comedy for whatever, six years now. And I think one thing that's hard for me is it's just like you're always kind of looking at like what's the next thing I can achieve. You know, at first it was like, how can I get in the 2 clubs here? All right, now I'm doing that. How can I headline? You know, okay, now I gotta and then also I have this anxiety because I'm doing it over here in Europe for like second language speakers. I'm like, does this even count? Like I had a good show, but does that count? You know, and I guess it was 2 years ago, I got into the San Francisco comedy competition.
Yeah.
And that felt like this big thing for me. Like, oh my gosh, like, man, this is huge.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in these moments where you feel like, oh, this is going to really change something, and then it doesn't. And the moments where you didn't think it was going to be anything, but that was actually impactful. So I was wondering, you know, I imagine in 2012, Comedy Central, I feel like was still like an era where it was like, I mean, that must have felt like a huge deal when you got that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had these like kind of blips in my career. I remember right when I stopped drinking in 2010, I got management. Was it 20? Yeah, it was 2010. I got management, Fallon, and Montreal, like all within a month of each other.
Wow.
And I was like,
here we go.
This is it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it, you know. And I had this like great summer, you know, and then the Fallon went great. And I remember getting off of Montreal didn't go perfectly. Montreal was in July, Fallon was in the first week of September, and then I remember the next day I flew to Seattle to do the Underground, and they upgraded me totally because of like my airline status, not because they'd seen the show. But I was sitting in first class, and the Hold Steady, you know that band?
Oh, yeah.
They like walked past me to coach, and I was like, have fun at your arena show.
Yeah.
But I thought that was it. I was like, oh, I'm like famous, you know, the offers are going to start coming through. I'll probably be on a sitcom. And then nothing happened for 2 years, like nothing. Mm-hmm. And I remember that feeling of like being like, oof, like that kind of sucks. And then I remember within that period, there would be opportunities, you know, like I would do an audition for a show or like a comedy showcase, like or a late night set, or I would do an audition for an actual show or movie, and I'd get a call back or something, and you know, like now I'm in front of the producer, so this is it, and you start thinking about the money, you start thinking about the kind of mobility that you'll have. I mean, I really think that's like when you really talk about like what success and money would get you, it's this mobility to kind of do what you want and move how you want to. I would love to be one of those people that's like focused enough to be like, this is about the art, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know people like, you know, there's like these genuine artists in the comedy community where like, even though they're rich because of comedy, they still are like, how is my art? And I'm like, the second I get a paycheck, I'm like, I need an Arc'teryx jacket. Yeah. And it's like it's like a horrible kind of like part of the human condition I'm completely helpless to.
Well, there is I feel like a relevant like part of it. A relevant part of it is also the condition in which you're performing or doing the art in, right? Like, imagine the further you get, or the more successful you get, the better you can take care of yourself on the road. I mean, I know that's my big goal is like, so I tour a little bit. It's in Europe, it's all self-produced. And the goal is I'm like, I want to stop staying in hostel dormitories.
Dude, yeah.
I can get into hotels, I've made it. Like,
dude, I was on this tour currently, and it was just convenient to stay at this hostel one night. But in a private room. I wasn't going to do that to myself to stay in the dorms. But I just was like, dude, what am I doing? There's like high schoolers making out like on this like cafe area. It's like I'm like sitting next to a bunch of 20-year-olds on their like Rumspringa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think to get back to that original question, I think one of the big things about it is I've done it so long, and actually the industry's changed so much that I really don't think I ever think about those opportunities.
The show must go on. Even if the show